in Israel, it's kind of what you would consider as a point zero. It's a dividing line between Israel and Gaza. So over here to this side of me is Gaza. You just heard that boom. Maybe you did. I'm assuming you did. And this is the city. I'm going to walk you around a little bit where I am, talk to you about where I am and why I'm here. But this is an area that is hit by its perpetually and has been for years. It's a target. It's also a place where, when we get to the situation where we are right now between Israel and Gaza, it's a place where on the outskirts facing into Gaza, excuse me, Israel's military sets up outgoing artillery positions. We've been hearing those. I think that may have been very well what we heard just now. So let me tell you about where I am. A week ago, when Hamas militants, operatives came into Israel and attacked towns. This was one of the places they came into. And behind me, and we're going to walk over and get a little bit closer to that, that's the police station in town, and it was attacked. And so you can see the wreckage of that. I don't know how close Gilly can get into that to show it to you, but we'll walk around to show you that. What happened is the militants they got into the police station, and there was tremendous fighting with police inside. They won't give us exact numbers. There was a police officer here before, and I asked for numbers of figures, casualty figures, and he wouldn't give me that number. But we've heard it's up to 20 police officers. I don't know how many Hamas operatives are in there. Also, there were prisoners at the station because it's a police station, and they were killed in the firefights. Since then, also Hamas, the operatives who came in, they set the station on fire. Police decided they're just going to basically wreck the whole station, and what you see behind me is the remains. Wrecked it this week because the police officer I just talked to said that beyond the fact that there are still, he said, some live explosive devices inside of that rubble pile, he said there are also bodies inside of there. So they've just decided to raise the whole thing, and that's what we're seeing is the result of that. And as well, we can from here we can smell the smell of bodies. So I'll take you over there in a minute. Let me take you here. This is right next to the station. What you see here looks colorful, looks happy. It could be an advertisement for a concert, right? It's not. This is a bomb shelter. So because we're basically on that zero line that I talked to you about, when the air raid sirens go off here, people have literally seconds to get to the bomb shelter. And this happened to us numerous times while we've been here. Very little time when there's incoming from Gaza because the distance is so short. This would be a place, if you were outside, this would be a place, if we hear a siren now, we'll run here, which is, this is a shelter. This is a bomb shelter. It's an outdoor shelter. People's buildings and their homes are also designed with shelters, although actually I think a lot of these buildings, and I'll show you the apartment buildings, were built like in the 60s, 1960s. They don't have in each apartment secure or shelter rooms. Now, as of, gosh, sorry, but I don't know exactly what year, but it became law in Israel that if you build a building, each apartment has to have its own bomb shelter. And that's where we heard these horrific stories of people in the kibbutzim, the communities along the Gaza border. When Hamas militants came in, they were burned alive in their homes, in their shelters. They were trying to stay safe inside the shelters, inside their homes. So people in a building like Gilly show, well, I'm not sure if we'll be able to show the building across the street because of the sun, but these buildings, because they're older, people would run for cover in these buildings, either in the stairway, because the stairwell is considered to be safe and built solidly in any building, and people would gather there, or generally in a building like this, an older structure, the bomb shelter is underground. And it's a communal bomb shelter, so people would have to sprint to get down into it. So, going forward, so that is a shelter that, again, Gilly will show you, that's where people run. That's where we're going to run if there's an air raid siren. And there's a few just across the street. You see the bus stop over there? That's another shelter. So they're literally all over the place, and that's to safeguard civilians. But civilians, speaking of, we're not finding too many right here. In fact, I've seen maybe 2 people, because people have left. They've been evacuated. They've been advised to get out of here because it's of the short distance, because of the proximity to Gaza. As well, it's a target because militants came in a week ago. So it's like what you would say the term a ghost town. That's what we're seeing here. Let's take a little walk. This is, first of all, also we're seeing casings, bullet casings all over the ground. This is from the firefight. So we're seeing evidence of it. We're seeing blood on the ground. And like I said, we can smell the aftermath, the smell of dead bodies here. I'll show you also some evidence. This is a police line that is basically not to cross it, to go into this area. As the police told us, there are still live explosives here. And let's see here. Let me see what I wanted to show you. Yeah, you can see the aftermath I'm going to take you over here. I'll show you the aftermath of rocket hits here in the city, on this city. And it's, Gilly, sorry, I'm losing the English word for it. The word for the blast from an explosion, the concussion. So often some of these blown out glass, the things that you see, the damage, it's because of concussion, of explosions. A direct hit is very obvious when it's a direct hit. But I'm going to show you some cars in a minute where they've been totally demolished. Here's a car here with its front. I mean, this is minor damage compared to what the rockets that are fired from Gaza can do. And this car, you know, the windshield here, this is some damage here. Hey. People are you're still living here?
Yes, we're not afraid.
You're not afraid?
No.
You're kidding?
Yes, I'm not kidding.
Could you see everything that happened here when it happened last week?
Yes.
It must have been crazy.
It was very scary.
You said I'm not afraid.
Israeli, we not and I don't know how to talk English very good.
You can say it, and yeah.
In the moment I born, this is how is in Israel.
So what he's telling, this is a resident. So I said there are very few people. I've seen more cats around here, more cats than I've seen people, stray cats. And he's saying you were born here, you've lived here all your life?
Yes.
So how old are you?
18.
Okay, so he's 18. He's lived here all his life. And he said, this is what we're used to. He's not scared. He stayed. He saw the entire firefight last week. And although he said the reason that he stays here is that he's not scared, he's used to this. The reason he stayed, going back, but he said that was scary. He watched it all happen here and that it was very frightening. I'm going to take you over to some damage over here. Thank you. I'll take you to some damage over here. Just more damage of cars that have been blown out to show you. You know, look, I'm well aware of the fact that when you look at damage like this, compared to what's happening in Gaza, it may seem minimal. I would say that what we're seeing now, the response by Israel, it's less. Well, I don't want to downplay what's happening here in this city. Here's some glass on the ground. I don't want to downplay what you're seeing here. But I will say this, is that this is a response more to the massacres that we saw a week ago. So the images that are happening a few kilometers, really a few kilometers from where I am, that's in response to the massacres we saw in towns like this. And we saw the aftermath here of the militants that came in. Here's another car and that looks to me more like the blast, the concussion blast. The window was blown out of this car. Now, let's see. I don't know. Gil, do you feel like it's okay? We were kind of told we weren't allowed to really be so much in this area, so we're being cautious. That car over there, do you feel comfortable walking over there? I just don't know if we're going to get stopped. But right now, everyone seems to be waiting for word of, let me just take a look at this car. Everyone seems to be waiting for word of what's going to happen on the Gaza border. What's going to happen, here you go. This would be someone's personal car. Inside the car you see what's gone on here. And this is just, I'm seeing car after car here. And that's, again, these aren't direct hits. A direct hit, you wouldn't really see this car. There wouldn't be anything left of it. But everyone's waiting. Okay, everyone's waiting, and we're being cautioned by the police here to move out of this area. So we're going to go over here, back again to where we were. Right now, we're waiting to see what the next phase of Israel's campaign is going to be here. And that's what the world is waiting to see. There was that 24-hour evacuation order or its recommendation given by Israel's army, telling people they were recommending that they move south. Now we're waiting to see, do we move into a new phase, which people speculate would be a phase of a ground invasion or a ground incursion. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. Not that this conflict or confrontation or war, it's really a war, is in a holding pattern. I'll just give you a few side notes. In the past 24 hours, as of Friday, the United States government, the U.S. State Department, is chartering flights for U.S. Citizens to get out of Israel. It's not a recommendation. They're not warning people to leave, but they're saying if you want to get out, you can get on a charter flight. We will get you out of Israel. That's partially because of the situation, the danger of the situation. That's also because there are very few flights here that are leaving, that are coming in. We know reservists that are trying to get back to Israel to serve in Israel's military are very hard-pressed to get onto flights, but flights are being arranged for them to come back in. Let's see here. Yeah, there has been certainly a flurry of activity, of movement in the past 48 hours of officials from U.S. Secretary of State and the U.S. Secretary of Defense and EU officials or European officials that have come in, saying that they're supporting Israel. Also a pledge of Navy ships, of warships from Britain, and personnel and surveillance aircraft from Britain, and that's in addition to the U.S. sending the USS Gerald Ford. That's an attack fleet. So this could go in many different directions, and the speculation beyond the ground invasion, or the possible ground invasion, is will we see a regional war open up? And that is, to many here, a very challenging prospect, because on multiple fronts that would be, it's extremely challenging. Multiple fronts meaning Lebanon, possibly Syria, possibly Iran, at the same time Gaza. And then if the population, the Arab population inside of Israel also pushes back or rises up, well, those are the possibilities, and that's what's being talked about right now. But right now, Gaza's the focus. And Israel has said that this is going to be a campaign to end all campaigns. They're not stopping. So there's no negotiating, and that's what Israel says. There's no negotiating, that they are going full force, and that clearly what their aim is, or what they've said their aim is to wipe out Hamas. And because of what the carnage that we saw a week ago. So we're here on the border waiting to see. It's fairly quiet. We were here 2 days ago, and there were incoming rockets constantly and outgoing artillery from right around here. So right now it's quiet. That could change, and it does change. So thank you for joining me. Again, I'm here in Sderot. It's sort of on the zero line between Gaza and Israel, and I will keep you updated. This is Stephanie Freid for CGTN.